Swayze, Gyllenhaal, good, crack.
Are you putting yourself in the same class
In the
as
category of ass kickers, yeah.
You're one hell of a roadhouser. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 65 of A Beer and Review. I am Keith Fuchs, a.k.a. Dalton, tonight, along with my boys, Mr. Lane Good.
Fred the Tree, baby.
And Luke Walker Dalton.
Cheers, boys.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing good, man. Doing good. In the middle of a little 10-day family vacation. Living the dream,
Sure sounds like it.
Yeah, UConn won the national championship last night. I was there. Lane and I both won a bunch of money. Things are good. Shot a 79 on yesterday, playing some golf. So
yeah. I got hooked up with, I think I told you guys this, I found out I have a golf simulator. I have access to one of those whenever I want. And so I actually got to count my strokes. I mean, it doesn't include putting, but I think my score was like a 160 something. So
it's not good.
Great.
Not great. Not great at all.
Especially when it doesn't include half of the game.
Yeah.
Well, it's about similar to how good you are at guessing in America's favorite game, but so be it. So tonight we are reviewing, as was mentioned earlier, old Roadhouse, the 2024 remake Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. Is going to be a topic of discussion on this podcast. And we're drinking Blue Moon because some people in the movie were drinking Blue Moon. So
not our best connect the beer to the movie that we've ever done, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And so we're gonna drink this treat.
I think anytime that a beer appears in a movie, I think that's a perfect connection. I think it's perfectly logical.
Right.
When the ass kicking beer it gets sold out at Total Wine, we have to go to a backup plan.
Yeah,
that would have been.
It was a backup. Well, yeah.
And this is the backup plan. So, gentlemen, what we haven't talked in a couple weeks, at least on the podcast. What have we been watching?
I think I mentioned this last episode. I've been going through kind of a classic comedy phase. Just want to throw on something light, something I can kind of half pay attention to. So I went through and I watched Joe Dirt 2, not even the original Joe Dirt, just the sequel to Joe Dirt. I also watched.
Sometimes I wonder if you hate yourself and just want to punish yourself by watching terrible movies.
I do hate myself. And then I also watched Scary Movie, which is
that's better.
It does hold up. Great flick there.
Yeah.
Bring them back. Bring back the spoof movie. I feel like we haven't gotten a good one of those in a very long time, and I feel like we could make a good superhero spoof movie. It's ripe for the picking.
I feel like they ran their course.
Yeah, they kind of did. But give me a good one. And as you guys know, I've also watched the movie Dune 2, and hold on to your butts. What a flick.
Yeah, this nerd. I haven't really watched a ton other than I did watch the original Roadhouse, which was not part of the assignment for this week, but I figured it would be helpful, and just bring up some good talking points. So I watched that before I watched this one, and so I'll get into that, throughout the episode.
Was that your first viewing?
I think it was actually, yeah. Having watched it, I was like, I don't think I ever saw this before.
Yeah,
or if I did, I was very young and don't remember it at all.
I watched the new one first, and then the next night went back and watched the old one, and excited to chat about it.
Yeah, I did not watch the old one because I didn't get to it. But you know what I did watch? And I think it's my favorite show. The third season
of Chappelle
on Netflix of Is It Cake?
Oh, Is It Cake?
Jesus Christ.
It's fucking fantastic, boys.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so I guess I didn't know there were multiple seasons. We watched the first season of Is It Cake, and it is so good.
Dude,
It's
we watched the
unbelievably
first
good.
season, and the second season came out, and it was even better. And the third
Yeah.
season just came out, and we watched it in over the course of 24 hours. We got through the whole season. The things that these bakers can do is unreal. It's fucking awesome.
It is absolutely insane what they do on that
It's
show.
fucking awesome. And then
The
on
answer is
Sunday,
yes, it is cake. It's always cake.
Most of the time, it is in fact cake.
God damn it, they're so good at it.
most of the time it's not cake though.
Oh,
Really?
Because the point of the show is that they're trying to get somebody to guess
Yeah.
which item is or is not cake. So they're trying to disguise the fact that their cake is cake.
In
but-
season 2, in the finale, a motherfucker baked a cake of the Mona Lisa.
That's pretty impressive.
And they put it next to an actual painting of the Mona Lisa, and you could not guess which one was the real one. It was that one.
Wow.
show
Maybe I
is
need to get in on
fantastic.
this.
Oh, you
It's-
do.
It's pretty
fucking
hot,
awesome.
dude. It's a hot show.
It's
There's
fucking
no doubt
awesome.
about it.
The
Mhm.
streets are
And
watching.
then-
Is the cake?
On Sunday, I got to go. I had to go to a 1-year-old's birthday party, but
Yeah,
they
that's
had
a had. That's a had
just-
too.
just a fantastic cake, and I was craving cake because of the show. And then I got to fucking have this nice, beautiful, light, fluffy, multicolored cake, and I just wish that it was in the shape of a fucking iguana. That's right.
One of the ones that I like just stands out to me that I remember. Somebody did like a sewing machine.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking insane. Like,
Dude, it's unbelievable what these
Yeah.
people can do.
yeah, they
I
did
like
some-
my cake to be, I don't know, cake shaped. That's call me crazy, call me old fashioned.
No,
Well,
dude,
what's cake shape, dude? This show redefines what is cake shape.
exactly.
Everything
Exactly.
is cake
Cake
shape.
can be any shape. I could be sitting in front of a cake right now, and you wouldn't even know
I have no idea.
it. You better fucking watch it, man. I want to
I-
fucking hear it. Kyla will love it.
It's pretty
Kyla
good.
just got into her sourdough, white girl sourdough phase.
That's the thing right
so
now.
yeah, so she uses the discard to make. She made like a strawberry shortcake, and let me tell you, I can confirm it was cake and it was delicious. So
Well, maybe she's on her way to becoming a cake artist, and maybe she will be on Is It Cake?
God, a man can dream.
Trust me, my wife is considering it, and I hope that she develops the skills to do it.
What's the stuff that they use? Like fondant.
Fondant.
Yeah, that's like
Fondant.
the main
Like
thing. Is it's
molding.
like this. Yeah, it's like this
Yeah.
sugary, basically mold.
Yeah, like a sugary
Yes.
mold that you put to shape whatever
Right.
you're making. Yes,
Yeah.
it's fondant. I know all of these things now.
On the cake they make on that show, it's like fucking 80% fondant most of the time. That's like
So it's not even really cake.
I don't even know how good
Oh,
these a
no,
lot
it's
of
really
these.
fucking cake.
Yeah, I mean the cake itself is really good, but like that fondant, there's so much. They use so much of it. It's
Yeah.
like it's more like
Fondant
It's like-
fondant and or modeling chocolate.
right modeling chocolate. That's the other one. Right.
Yes, which
yeah.
sounds fantastic to me.
Modeling chocolate does sound good. The other one I think is not quite as good. It's like Play-Doh around cake, basically.
I would like to try it. I'd definitely
Yeah.
like to try it. So
Yeah.
now that I've gotten us off track with
Modeling
cake
chocolate.
corner, is it cake corner?
Yeah,
Um,
I was not expecting to talk so much about is it cake, but I'm going to be honest. I'm glad that
oh,
we
you-
did.
You have to fucking watch it. It's so good. I love it so much. So okay, let's actually get to the movie here, and let's move into the AI corner. Lucas, do you have the
Ooh.
AI generator up
God,
so we
I
can?
forgot.
This could be interesting.
Let me get into it here. Bing. Okay, yeah. We are ready to rock. Actually, I gotta sign in.
And share your screen too, so the world can see this art.
Yeah.
Then you better be thinking of what you're gonna prompt.
Oh, I'm first, huh?
And yeah, you're first. You're first, big fella.
And also, I want to give a little shout out while we're doing this, so there's no dead air. This is a movie about ass kickers. I'm wearing the sweater of ass kickers. So
An official sponsor of the
an official
podcast.
sponsor of the podcast.
Dark
So all
Swole.
you listeners out there, check out darkswole.com. They got all your fitness apparel needs, darkswole.com.
If you want to be kicking ass, like is it Elmhurst Dalton?
That's something
Elwood?
stupid. Elwood.
Elwood, like Elwood Dalton.
Fucking name.
Dark Swole. Get it. Shouts out. Okay, we got it up.
Yep. Let me
Share that
share screen
bitch.
here.
God, Dark Soul better be paying us a lot of money for that shout out they just got. All right. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Tough man beats up less tough men outside of a bar.
Okay. It's not good, but
I just want to see
Definitely not good.
that's what the movie's about.
No, it's
well,
not at all.
Now I'm curious if we watch the same movie because that's what this whole movie was for 2 hours.
they
No.
were sometimes inside the bar.
That is true. Why are they all black and white?
That is a interesting.
I like the top right where they're just having a flex off.
Yeah, it's kind of the same image 4 times. I'm
Yeah,
not
it
really
is.
sure why.
Very, and it's the two same. Are they twins?
Yeah, this one they look very cool.
I like the guy like right above who just has the wide open mouth. That's pretty good.
What in the fuck is
This
that?
guy right there. Yeah, I like that guy.
This one they look very mad. These aren't horrible. I like how
one's
this
not bad
guy
at
looks
all.
like
it's
Bryce
basically
Harper.
this guy twice. Yeah, that guy looks exactly like Bryce Harper. It's not horrible. It's not great.
What's the name of this pub? Poobie Yiggy.
Buckboy, yeah.
Everyone's favorite Roadhouse. Bug
All right. I'm gonna go with Buff.
Mm-hmm.
Buff bar bouncer with open shirt.
Important.
Fights.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, breaks up bar fights at bar on the Florida beach.
All right.
All right, let's see how. Let's see if we can get some color in these ones.
Yeah, I like my AI images with some color usually, but you know.
Right.
Nothing I see.
Oh. I like. There was something there that I liked.
Yes.
Wow. I'm not sure why there's a policeman.
Well, I mean,
although it kind of works. It kind of works.
The policeman is breaking up the bar fight with him.
That is a buff man.
That is a buff man.
That is quite the buff man.
He kind of
Also
looks a
kinda
little
looks
bit
like
like
Bryce
Gyllenhaal. Yeah, and Bryce Harper. That's not.
Why do all
that's
these
not
guys
too
have
bad.
beards?
I don't know.
Tough guy, buff guy, buff guy.
Tough guys have to have beards. All right.
Gyllenhaal.
Not Gyllenhaal. And I
What do
will
you
give him
got-
that.
what do you got there,
He was
Fuchs?
looking good.
All right. Vagabond fighter with a dark past.
Ooh, hold on. That's good.
Comes to small beach town,
Mm-hmm.
to kick ass and take names.
You get kicked to kick butt.
Ass might not work, but kick butt.
Do you think he took a lot of names? Because
I don't know, but I really hope that the AI makes him be writing down names.
yeah, I really want to see that.
And he's probably literally going to be kicking somebody in the butt. Oh, maybe not.
Whoa,
Wow.
not what I was expecting.
Wow. Vagabond
fighter.
Wow. I don't know why it just
Dacktown.
poorly wrote it on a piece of paper, but that's not bad. It's got a little bit of that one's got a little bit more Pirates of the Caribbean vibe to it.
Yeah, a lot of these seem to be more Pirates of the Caribbean vibes.
This one, I'm not really sure what's going
I
on
like
there.
Vagabond Fighter.
Why did it decide to write all of yours but
what the hell?
And
with
incredibly
nonsense.
incorrectly,
I
too.
like,
Yeah.
I like that.
There we go.
That's not bad.
That's good. That looks like Bruce Wayne
There
when
we
he's
go.
traveling
It does
and
look like
hiding in the
Bruce Wayne.
prison.
Exactly.
Oh man. All right. Well, for our friends out there, we'll post those on the interwebs. That's
fantastic.
fun stuff.
That is
That's
fun
always fun
stuff. All
stuff.
right, let's get into this movie, huh?
Let's do it.
So,
I would love to.
so this is this is Roadhouse, and it is a remake of the 1989 movie, as we mentioned. And let's just get into the opening, Mr. Good. This is your favorite part of the movie, I would say, because it dives you right in. We get a sense of what we're going to get from the opening scene. And so this opening scene is Post Malone beating some guy up in a bare knuckle boxing match.
Yeah,
And
very
in comes a hooded character who's ready to fight him and makes Post Malone back down. What'd you think?
I hated it. I thought it was awful. I thought it was really, really, really bad. Post Malone is in the movie for, let's say, 5 minutes, and he says fuck probably 20 times. So that was stupid. I don't believe
Like hanging out with my wife's in-laws.
I don't believe him to be. Well, your wife's in-laws
Well,
are your parents.
Yeah, they're like her extended family, I'll say. How about that?
Okay. I just don't see Post Malone as a tough guy.
Post Malone
It
will
just
kick your ass.
You think so?
You sure about that?
Are you sure about that? I challenge that. I'll throw the yellow beer at that because I'm not buying that. But yeah, I thought it was really dumb, and I think this movie is at its best when it is lighthearted and being fun and not taking itself too seriously. And the first 10 minutes of this movie, it doesn't really set up the feel of the rest of the movie. The beginning's very serious and dark and like we get to kind of see that Dalton is this intimidating guy and no one wants to fuck with him. But throughout the movie he's like this lighthearted kind of like joke as he kicks your ass kind of guy, and I just thought that the beginning didn't really set that up at all. Like it just shows you that he's a badass, but we don't even see him fight. I thought it was cool when he got stabbed and he like left a knife in and kind of bandaged himself up. That was cool, but the
This is
whole Post
introducing
Malone
us to the
beginning,
guy who's about to fuck everybody up.
sure, but like
what do you expect from them?
the way that he does it is like funny. Like the first time he actually beats someone up in the movie, he drives them to the hospital. Like that is funny, and that's the part I like about this movie, not Post Malone saying fuck a million times, and it just kind of it fell flat for me. Did not like it.
Lucas, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a killjoy like Lane, so I enjoyed it. I thought, I thought Post Malone was an interesting character, like an interesting actor choice, right, for the character. It was very violent, the way that he was beating him up. Just every shot that landed, like shakes the screen, and you're just like, oh my god, he's beating this dude's brains in. And then what I did like, because especially early in the movie, there's a lot of callbacks to the original. This is basically almost identical. I mean, not almost identical, but kind of has the same like theme and same setup to the original movie. This in the original movie, it's a little bit different because Dalton is like a successful like bouncer at a big club, and he breaks up a fight and he gets stabbed in the same spot of his stomach. Or not stabbed, he gets like cut in the same spot of his stomach, and then he's going in the back room, and somebody approaches him to come clean up a bar somewhere, in some other town. So it's kind of the same thing where he gets stabbed this time, somebody approaches him to clean up this bar, same cut in the same spot, end up going to the same or to a hospital. And then there's the same line about nobody wins a fight. The doctor asks, do you ever win a fight? And so like, I liked that they were setting the movie up exactly the same way that the original set it up, but with some notable differences, and wasn't a complete copy, like not a complete remake, but they made it clear, like, hey, yeah, we're not shying away from the fact that this is a remake. I liked that.
I mean, yeah, I will give you this, Lane. Watching Post Malone fight, I was like, I'm not buying that Post Malone is the
Yeah.
best guy in this town. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But like, in order to set up the kind of aura of this, and we'll get to the backstory of Dalton,
Elwood.
of Elwood Dalton, a little later.
Elwood Dalton.
But like, it sets up the aura of this guy that he's like obviously very, very fucking tough and can kick anybody's ass. Can take a knife. He's down on his luck, sleeping in his car, and then he gets approached by the bar owner, offering him $20 grand in a month to just come and clean up her bar.
So that's definitely a difference between the two. Is like Dalton in this movie is a vagabond of sorts. Down on his luck. He's like kind of a little bit of a outcast loser type, whereas in the original, like, he's Swayze. You couldn't even cast Swayze in that type of character, right? So he's got to be like this. He's this awesome guy that everybody knows and loves and fears at the same time, and is like successful, So
yeah, one thing I did like. I mean, we're going to get into the old movie versus the new movie, but I like Swayze as the character. Is like, this is what he does. He goes to a place, he makes it, he cleans it up, and he moves to the next place. And that really wasn't the case with Elwood Dalton.
Yeah, Swayze was a professional cooler. In this one, he is just a guy who's a fighter. Yeah,
interesting. We're gonna get into the comparison because I want to hear it later. Because I didn't watch the old one, but obviously Elwood takes up the offer to go clean up this.
He shuts her down, and that's the movie.
Yeah, nah,
I'm good.
Movie. So he goes to the Florida Keys, and he's very confused when he gets there because he asks about the Roadhouse, and he meets the girl and her dad who own the little bookstore, and they say it's called the Roadhouse. He goes, no, what's it called? And they say the Roadhouse. Did you know that the Roadhouse is like a term for like a roadside bar deal? Because I did not. I had to literally look up that that's like a term that gets used for like roadside bars and shit.
No, I mean when I hear Roadhouse, I think of the movie.
Right. Yeah. And in the original Roadhouse, the bar is not called Roadhouse.
It's called
Deuce. Yeah. So then I kind of made that connection just in the context clues from the original movie.
Yeah. Well, I did like that the owner of the Roadhouse, they like made it into a joke that her uncle, the former owner, had a weird sense of humor. And so like the boat that he lives on is called the boat.
Very good.
Yeah. So I did like that they brought it back and made it like a humorous thing, but at first it was a little weird.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, like that's the parts of the movie that I like. Like I thought, the little girl with the bookshop and the dad, I thought they were, whatever, it was kind of cute, but like they bring levity to this movie and make it not so serious. And if you take this movie as a serious flick, you're not gonna like it. Like it's not a good serious movie. If you're looking for something to turn your brain off for 2 hours and laugh and have some fun and watch some cool action, there's something here for you. And when they lean into that, I liked it.
A serious movie at all, as it shouldn't be. It should not be a serious movie. And that's what's awesome about it. So, Lane, you talked about the first fight. So he goes to the bar. He's working that first night, and then some fucking dudes on bikes come rolling up. And Dell, the first name that gets taken, Dell, walks in and starts fucking being a jackass to everybody. And so Dalton says, let's go outside. And then the guy says, we're not going outside, whatever. And then he says, I want to see your bikes. So he goes out to see the bikes. Okay, I got you outside. And then it's like, 5-on-1? And he just starts by slapping each of them in the face and then ends up taking their ass and then taking them to the hospital.
Breaks the dude's arm and
Yeah. And that's like, again, the movie is, I mean, I didn't love the slapping. You know, there's going to be a lot of things I don't love about this movie, as you guys can guess. But I think that, you know, I like that they made this character really smart. Like we hear it multiple times, like, "Oh, I broke your finger, and now you can't do this." Like he just knows the human body so well, and so he like, "Oh, I broke your arm. He has a fractured shoulder blade or whatever the fuck it is." Like I really liked how he knows how to fight so well that he targets specific parts of the body so people get hurt, but like not serious. Like, oh, these just people just need medical attention. We're going to take them to the hospital, and I'm going to be the one that drives them. Like, I
Yeah.
just really liked the character when he's having fun.
He does it later on too with the guy who flashes the gun. He's like, "Well, how are you gonna hold the gun when I break your two fingers?" And then he does it. Like, yeah, it's funny. Gyllenhaal has a very like effortlessly cool aura to him. Just in general, you know, not nearly to the level that Swayze had that same effortlessly cool. But Gyllenhaal is just like I don't think anybody doesn't like Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Like he's kind of funny, he's pretty cool. He's like I'm not saying as like you like him or don't like him necessarily as an actor. Right?
Yeah.
I know that Lane, you don't think he's the greatest actor, but like I think that everybody thinks he's just
He
like
has
a pretty cool dude. Yeah, he's just like a cool dude.
Exactly. He's just like a
Yeah.
cool dude.
Unless you're a Taylor Swift fan, and then
Well, so be it. Okay, the slaps, dude. You didn't like that he just fucking slapped him? Because I think that is
Yeah. I thought
the
that was cool
best
too. I like
fucking
that.
that's what you do when you just know that you're fucking tougher than this motherfucker. Like, I'm slap you, you're a bitch. Do something about it.
yeah,
And that's
I
what he
mean,
did. He's like,
it's funny. It's funny.
yeah. He's like, I'm tougher than you. I'm gonna slap you across the face. Do something about it. And
As
then
the
the guy
first
died.
fight,
And he slaps
I would
him
have liked something maybe a
so
little
hard.
different.
He slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah, I mean, there's slaps that are essentially punches. I mean, it's
Like that as an introduction to him would have been perfect. Instead of maybe replace Lane if
Instead of
they had
this.
had that be the first scene instead of the Post Malone and him walking in and all that shit. Would that have been a
Sure.
better start?
I think that would have been a better start to show like what this guy is capable of doing, because we don't see it for what, a half hour.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes ish. Sure.
Yeah.
Call it half hour. But then he essentially the next interesting thing to me was like, okay, so he's there obviously to lay down the law. These people keep coming back, and then like there's just fights in this bar every night, and he kind of like doesn't train
everyone
the
else
other
do it?
guy. Yeah, he doesn't train like the guy to do it, but the younger guy, I don't know if he was a bartender or waiter, whatever he was, but he basically like tells him and then gets his buddy to like just come and do the work for him so that he doesn't have to kick everyone's ass. I
Yeah.
thought that
yeah.
was interesting.
well, also
Mhm.
kind of how Swayze does it in the
Okay.
original one.
See, there you go.
Like,
That's what I need to
they both the Daltons kind of use their presence as a cooling factor
Yeah.
while training the existing staff, because the purpose of this of both of their jobs is that they don't want to have to be there forever every night.
Yeah.
They want to establish a culture and have the existing staff
Establish a culture.
Yeah, and they want the
That's
existing
kicking.
they want the existing staff to be able to handle this, once
Uh,
they've moved on. So that is kind of a commonality in both of them. And yeah, like he's not interested in the every petty little scrap. He's got
Yeah,
to
it
pick his poison.
I
Yeah,
love
but I
that you
liked
said
in
establish a culture, because anytime a new coach gets hired and they say they're going to
Right.
establish a culture, I want to fucking poke my fucking eyes out and ears out, and because it's just become a fucking buzzword. But anyway, go ahead, Lane. I'm sorry. It's just
yeah, I'm with you. I do really like that in the original, though. There's like the meeting, where it's like, hey, it's my way or the highway. Which I hope that that the Roadhouse like came up with that saying, because it's so cheesy to hear in 2024. but I'm sure in 1989 it was fucking sweet. But in that original movie, they have like the meeting where it's like, you're either in and you're out. We're gonna do it my way. This is how we do it. You know, be nice until you don't need to be. And we kind of see him, showing everyone like this is how we're gonna do it. In this new movie with Gyllenhaal, he's like, "Hey, that guy has a knife. When he pulls it out, step back and punch him in the face." I'd be like, "Fuck you, dude! Like that's a Jake Gyllenhaal job, not a
It also
brilliant
worked
rookie job."
perfectly.
It worked. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Except he didn't step back; he leaned back. I was, nitpicking there, but
there was a step.
I
did
did.
step in there.
It was,
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I just thought it was fun. Like watching this movie, the original or the remake first. I do agree that it was very strange that he's like this tough guy that was coming to beat ass, and he just has these two kids like do all the
Well,
work for him.
it was strange, but also what I was thinking is like he obviously from the beginning was hesitant to take this job. He's not someone that you can tell wants to fight because he knows that he can just beat the living fuck out of people. And later on, we learn why because which
He's
we
got
might
a
not see now
bit of
because
a sordid past.
yeah, a bit of a sordid past. Indeed, he was a UFC fighter who killed a man in the ring. So I mean, he knows what his hands are fucking capable of, and he
Did
doesn't
he
want
kill him?
Licensed weapons.
Did they say
killed
that
him.
he killed the guy?
Yeah, he
Oh,
killed him.
okay.
I
He
think
killed
so.
him. Yeah. I want to say it was the
We need to
flying
get into
knee
that.
did
Not
it,
now,
but we'll get into
no.
it.
So we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. We'll get there. I mean, the rest of the movie is basically just him teaching the other dudes to kick ass. He kicks ass, and then basically solving the mystery of why someone wants this bar, which turns out the son of a guy who helped build the town, but basically built the town because he was a gigantic drug dealer, and his son has taken over for him and wants to take this bar out so that he can have the land and build a massive fucking hotel there. And that's why there's been all this fucking roughhousing. So my question on the rest of this
Rough
plot
housing.
here.
There's a bit of roughhousing in the
There's a lot
movie.
of
There is a bit of
I will
rough
say.
housing.
So my question to you two is, do you believe that a former UFC fighter / vagabond could have been such a good detective to put this all together? I mean, it wasn't hard to put together, but
It wasn't hard to put together.
no
They
one else
really
in the
just kind
town
of
could figure it
told
out.
him. I agree. I agree with you. I think that everyone else in the town was just kind of, for lack of a better word, a bitch, and just kind of gets pushed around, and they just kind of have their way with these town folks.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, the bar owner knew that the guy wanted to take her bar.
Yeah.
And she just never said anything, which made Gyllenhaal have to be a goddamn detective to figure out why all these people just want to come in and fucking cause a ruckus every night.
We should talk about the bar owner.
Let's do it. I'd love
because
to talk about
she is a great actress. She's in the TV show Shrinking on Apple TV with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford, and one of the best TV shows I've seen in a while. It's really, really good. It's funny. It's got a lot of emotion to it, and she has a great role in it. She's also incredibly beautiful. In this movie,
she's also
absolute ass. I thought she was terrible.
Well,
really,
terrible.
The acting in this movie in general is not exactly its strongest point. Obviously, you've got Gyllenhaal, who's great.
Gyllenhaal's fantastic, but
the rest of them, whew,
yeah, not
great,
not awesome. We're gonna get to my pick for worst actor.
for the best actor in the movie.
I'm sure you guys can guess who I'm going to pick, but
yeah. But I just thought that she.
Does his name rhyme with Schmoner Schmeger?
As a matter of fact, it does.
As a matter of fact, I just thought that she was. She's a great actress who wasn't given much. I just,
Well, that's the thing. It's not that she did a bad job. It's like she didn't really have that much to work with, let's say, for this movie. I mean, in Fantastic Beasts, she's a goddamn wizard. So,
How sure are we that she's in Fantastic Beasts?
I am 100% sure. She's in the.
All right.
Pardon me. She's in the third Fantastic Beasts,
The Dumble.
the most recent one. Yes,
That
The
movie
Crimes
sucked
of
so
Secrets
bad.
of Dumbledore.
The Secrets of Dumbledore. Yes.
That movie
Yeah.
sucked.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, she was terrible.
Okay.
What did we think about Ben Brandt as a?
Oh, you mean Joe Burrow?
That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, yeah. What do we think about Joey B?
He was terrible. The actor was terrible.
Really?
Yeah, I mean I don't know. The character kind of didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like just the way he acted was very, which I guess is part of it, right? But like the whole like having a guy shave you with the old school single blade,
that
like in the middle of
that was a hilarious scene.
in the middle of
I
a
liked
storm.
it. I liked it.
Right, but then he's just like, I don't know, he's just crazy person, and then like he just throws his phone into the ocean, and then tells the guy to go get it, and we're just like, this guy is crazy. And then the scene that made the least sense to me was when he goes into the bar, like so he meets Conor McGregor, right, and tells him, hey, don't go kick this guy's ass yet. I want to try this the nice way one more time. And then he just goes into the bar and like is really weird and is like, oh yeah, I think this is where this is the punch that did it. Like what was his goal there?
I think he was trying to get a
reaction out of him, but like
enough, yeah, to like hit him and then he can get him arrested or some shit like that. I think that's what he was trying to do.
That's a terrible plan.
It
Terrible
is,
plan.
but it is a terrible plan.
But the character itself, now the actor, I've seen in other movies and like supporting roles. And
Every Sunday you see him.
Goofy actor. Every Sunday.
It's Joe Burrow, man. Come on.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. Okay. But I feel like the character that they made the character perfect. He's the incompetent fucking jackass son of a drug dealer who's wants to be fucking tough, wants to be the fucking business guy, wants to be all these things, and he's fucking not.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
agree.
like all the little scenes like the shave and throwing the phone and all that shit. And then his dad fucking calls him and tells him he's a fucking bitch, and then he overreacts and wants to act like he's fucking tough. And he's not.
Yeah.
And I feel like that it was perfectly done for that.
I guess so. It just made me like very uncomfortable, I guess, which I guess maybe is part of the character. He's maybe supposed to make you feel a little uncomfortable. I just didn't.
Was it specifically the scene where he's getting a shave in the ocean? Because that made me uncomfortable as well.
I didn't like watching that. Yeah.
See, but you guys do you guys shave with do you guys still use razors?
Yeah, I use a safety razor. So it's a single blade, but it's like the one that it has just like a single, like a metal handle. And then I have a single razor blade in there that's like screwed in with like a little cover. So I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I've only seen it because I've been in your bathroom before, so
yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like I only use a razor blade like once every couple of months. I just want to get right down to the fucking bone with it. But usually it's just clippers.
Yeah. One of these. Go to my shared screen.
Let's fucking go to the razor corner.
The razor corner. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's just one single blade in there. You have to change that blade out pretty often because it gets very dull.
Yeah.
Almost immediately. But I don't do a ton of shaving these days. As you see, I've been rocking some stubble with a mustache. Yeah.
Would you ever allow someone else to shave your fucking face and neck?
That makes me super uneasy to even think about. Because my mind, if I did, my mind would always go to the movie Sweeney Todd. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
Yes, I have.
It's a great flick, but it involves a lot of throat slitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then dropping on heads.
I actually would really like to get a good old fashioned straight razor shave. Like
I'm sure it feels great.
So my barber goes straight razor on the sideburns and the back of the neck, and it feels fantastic. And I want a full
My
on.
barber does it for my hard part that he gives me sometimes.
Ah, there you go.
Never
Never done the hard part. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Ask your barber, Keith. Have him get in there and get.
It makes it easy to style your hair.
Actually, I do believe that my barbershop offers it, but I don't know.
No, not the hard part. I'm talking about your face. You're saying they offer that?
That's what I'm saying. I think they offer that. But
yeah, just make
sure
I haven't done it yet.
Just make sure he doesn't put a hard part through
my neck, my throat. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I just want to get in here and talk about Ben Brandt because I did like him. I'm on Team Keith with this one.
Yeah.
I think the actor played him well as like he had charisma. You could see kind of why some people kind of get behind him, but we saw
say he had charisma.
You don't think so? I think he's like an attractive dude. Like he, I like him. I'd follow him. He is a doofus. But he comes from power. I liked the scene where he came into the bar and they had that interaction, him and Jake Gyllenhaal. I agree with you, Luke, that it was a terrible plan. Like it didn't make any sense what he was trying to accomplish.
What his goal was there, yeah.
Yeah, but I did like it, and I did like watching them interact, even though it was kind of dumb and led to nothing. But I thought he was fine.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what happens next. McGregor.
Dalton.
Jesus, this was. I'll be honest with you. I kind of had some high hopes for Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, the actual person, is such an elite showman, right? Like as a UFC fighter and as like a promoter of himself and as like, in press conferences and all these different things, like he kind of what made him is his ability to talk shit, his ability to rile people up, his speaking ability, his charisma. Like he is a showman. So I was kind of coming into this thinking like, man, acting should be a fairly smooth transition for him. He's basically acting all the time. I don't think he's actually like this. I think he is like this to a bit of, an extent, but I think he's clearly putting on a show all the time. I was like, this might work out pretty decent. It did not work out decent at all.
Not one bit.
Terrible. He was terrible.
Yeah. Not one bit.
What accent was he even doing?
I don't.
Was he Irish? Was he?
It was really weird. It was really weird.
I mean, it was kind of funny seeing him jump out of a window of a woman that he was
house,
having sex with, whose husband came home in the middle of it. That was funny. Then you just see that he's completely naked walking through the city. And then he just like takes this guy's jacket and burns his
and sets his shop on fire. Where did he get the fire? Like,
right? Yeah, none of that.
I had the same question.
None of that made a whole lot of sense, but it was kind of funny. And then he's driving in like the Lamborghini or whatever at 1 billion miles an hour. But then when he shows up to the house
in the student driver car,
well, that was the second.
That was after.
House. Yeah, the first time he shows up, and he just like comes in hot and he's talking shit to people and eating sandwiches. It's all very funny, actually. Now that I'm talking about it, but like I just couldn't figure out what accent he was doing. It was like, bro, you are already Irish. Just speak in your normal voice.
Just do that.
You already speak in a super Irish accent. You're like an Irish person trying to do an Irish accent or something. I'm like, what is this? You sound like a leprechaun or something. Like,
dude, it was just weird. Like, that whole introduction was funny, but he was just so bad. So I watched it with my wife, and this is one of the first ones that she has watched that we've reviewed in a long time.
She's missed so
She-
many great movies.
She really liked this is right up her alley. She loves goofy action movies. Like
my wife
right up-
loved the original Roadhouse
Yeah.
and was digging this for the first like half, and then she didn't finish it. But
I knew that she would like it, and she totally was fucking into it, and I enjoyed it. But as soon as McGregor came on the screen and started talking, she is like, "Who is this? He is so bad," and I could not disagree at all because he was fucking terrible. Like,
So who do you think we could put in this role? Because like obviously you get McGregor.
anyone
that's
else.
it's like
The
a
Rock?
big name.
The Rock would have been
It
perfect.
makes sense.
Dave Batista.
Dave
Batista,
Batista
there
would
you
have
go,
been
yep.
great.
Mhm.
But see, like those guys are.
They're above
I mean,
this.
we'll find out when the budget comes when we get to that part of the podcast. But I feel like this was not like even Gyllenhaal. I feel like did this as more of a kind of goofy
Passion
one-off
project.
movie, passion project than expecting this to be some awesome fucking Oscar-winning flick. But I don't know. I feel like The Rock would have done this. It seemed like it's right up The Rock's alley.
Yeah.
Although
Not as the
it would
bad
have
guy.
been.
Rock
It
doesn't
would
play
have
the bad
been.
guy. He would have had to have been.
bad guy. Did you see WrestleMania?
No, I didn't watch
The
WrestleMania,
Rock
Keith.
is
Are
the
you
bad guy
fucking
now.
kidding
He's the
me?
final boss. Oh, don't you dare fucking spit on WrestleMania. I didn't watch it either. I saw the highlights.
Thanks.
Well, your sponsor, Dark Swole, I bet you watched fucking WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, we love Dark Soul. We love WrestleMania.
But it would have been a lot less believable that Jake Gyllenhaal could kick The Rock's ass as opposed to 5'9" Conor McGregor. So I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, Conor McGregor makes so much sense as a selection. He's still super, super popular.
Yeah.
He doesn't fight a ton these days, but next time he does fight, he's gonna draw, 10 million.
The only thing he
pay-per-views.
fights is a cocaine addiction.
Yeah, that's probably true. But like, man, he was rough. And dude, I don't know if you guys saw any of the interviews that he did for the movie, but like, dude, there was one interview, like, yeah, dude seems like he is like permanently coked out. Like, yeah, he's like moving all weird and like everything he says, you're like, yo, this guy is losing it. And I'm sure that, they were on set and everyone was like, oh fuck, this is not good. This
Once
guy.
you sign him on, it's like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
do the best with what we got here.
Yeah.
But this movie was rated R,
Yeah.
and we all see why it's rated R. From I love the this is rated R for this reason. Gives you a little hint of what the movie's going to be, and we get a little nudity is the first thing that pops up, and the nudity that we got is full on Conor McGregor's
Conor
ass.
butt. Yeah.
Acting at its finest, right there. Great
He is-
great ass on that man.
He is buff, dude. He is a
He is
Yeah.
buff.
guy's a piece of meat,
roided
dude.
up since during his break in the UFC. So
Yeah.
but he's so small that it's like a weird buff. It's
Right.
a weird looking buff, dude.
Yeah.
He's a weird
I mean,
man.
he's jacked, obviously, but he's just a short little Irishman.
He
And
kind of looks like Desmond Bain. He's kind of got
yeah,
a similar,
that's a good
similar-
comparison.
similar
Exactly.
build,
Yeah, very similar build.
Shout out to Luke for saying what actors in movies, what obscure athletes they look like.
That's a great fucking call, though, because that's exactly kind of what it looks like. But definitely jacked. And maybe one day I'll fucking try and get that jacked again. It's probably what I looked like when I was fucking 30 pounds
for
heavier
sure.
than this. So
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
get all
he was
tatted up,
terrible.
too.
And the final fight between them, fine, right? Nothing to.
no, see, I really liked it. It did get
I
a
thought it
little
was-
over the top, but that's kind of what
Yeah.
you expect in an action movie like this. Like,
I didn't
not
love.
going to survive getting run over by a truck or
He gets run
or
over
yeah.
twice in this
or
fucking
jumping,
movie.
jumping from boat to boat as they're going as fast as
The
possible.
boat jumping was wild.
Boat jumping was pretty
Super fun scene though. Super exciting.
super fun, but
Yeah.
a little absurd.
A little far fetched. What I didn't like about the final fight and kind of also the first time that they fight each other is that Dalton really gets his ass kicked for pretty much both fights.
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of expect him to the first fight, right? Like, because
Yes,
there's got to be
It's
the
called
comeback
character growth.
later on, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, he never really was getting the better of him until the very. I mean, he was getting some shots in, right? It wasn't like it was just a complete mauling, but McGregor was kicking his ass pretty heavy both fights, and then at the very end he flips it and stabs the fuck out of him a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
that was
Some
pretty wild.
shards of wood. But like I don't know, I just kind of, in comparing it to the original one, Swayze was never really getting his ass kicked.
No,
Like, he was pretty
Swayze
much
was doing the ass kicking.
he was pretty much always ass kicking. Yeah. And in this one, Dalton was always ass kicking except for these two fights against.
So
McGregor.
let's just segue into it. I mean, we basically covered the goddamn movie. So
Yeah.
compare the 89 to this one. What was similar? What was
So
different? What did we like? What did we dislike?
Yeah, I mean, like, so I mentioned the kind of setup of the movie, and the general, storyline that this person is being brought in as a cooler to, turn around this bar. And it kind of has the similar sort of themes in both, where like the bad guy is this dude who kind of runs the town, from behind the scenes, and is a bad dude and is trying to get this bar shut down for, whatever reasons. But like the 80s one, I don't know, man. It was just the most 80s movie you've ever seen. Like, it was the most stereotypical 80s action movie ever. And some of the like cheesy kind of lines are like, oh yeah, no, this is just an 80s movie. Like, that's how movies were, right? Like, the love interest also in the original one kind of made more sense. Like the love story made more sense, where this one was kind of clunky.
I didn't bring up the love story because
weird.
the love story was fucking really, really dumb.
It
But
just was
anyway,
clunky.
very clunky.
There was also in both, there's kind of this like sordid past incident, right? But I liked in the original one, basically he had gotten in a fight and he kills the guy because the guy pulled a gun on him. And in this one, he kills a guy in a UFC fight. I didn't like how they didn't really get into the backstory enough. They showed the flashback of the fight.
Agree.
And then there was like talk when he was talking to Joe Burrow about like, oh, wasn't he your friend? Wasn't he your friend? But then they never revisited that.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought this up.
Or like talked about why they. Yeah, it kind of was just so. This one was a lot clunkier than the original one. The original one just had this real 80s feel to it, but it was like a very well done movie.
Yeah, I do want to. It's weird that because they kind of mentioned that Jake Gyllenhaal learned, like, when you push me too far, I kind of go out of control. And it's like you mentioned, his UFC buddy was his friend, and like we don't hear anything about what made him throw that extra punch. Because like from what I got from the movie, he hit him with a flying knee, he punched him while he was down, he got pulled off, and then he went for one final hit after he was down. And it's like, why? Like, give us something here, which I thought was just incredibly strange.
Well, we also didn't. The only background we got was like these little dreams that Gyllenhaal would have on the boat.
The boat dreams, yeah.
And the only interaction we see with this guy who was supposedly his friend was him talking shit to him at the press conference and calling him a fucking clown.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Like, they did. We needed more background on Gyllenhaal and why did he kill the guy? Why is he so feared as a fighter? Like, obviously he can kick people's ass, but yeah, we definitely need more background on that. I agree.
And then in regards to the original, I really liked the Sam Elliott character. I just thought as like a friend who, was kind of had some romantic interest with Swayze's romantic interest. Like, I think they just did a really good job of bouncing off of each other, and they knew each other so well. And when Sam Elliott, which I'd never seen him as a younger man, that dude is fucking handsome. That's a sexy man right there.
Yeah,
good Lord. Yeah.
I didn't even realize he was in the original Roadhouse.
I didn't
Dude,
know that it
yeah.
was him until like after the movie because he's so much
Huh.
younger.
He's so much younger, and he is just. I mean, I'm a straight white man, but man, that guy, Sam Elliott. Oof. Anyways, and then when he dies, it's like a big thing. Like, I mean, I really liked the
Does he
connection
still
between
have
them two.
the deep
It's
Yeah.
not
Frank
quite
with
as deep,
your
but he's
voice?
still got it. He's still got it for
Mhm.
sure. But yeah, I mean the original. I watched them back to back. So the original, I was like, okay, like this is the same movie, but it's a step above for sure, and it took itself a little bit more seriously, even though it's a stupid '80s action movie. And I don't know, I'm a little drunk and a little rambly, but yeah, this movie tried its best to make a Roadhouse in 2024, and you can't replicate a classic.
It's hard. It was kind of an impossible task, and I think they did, kind of what you have to do in making this movie in 2024. But yeah, it was an impossible task.
And a lot less boobs.
Yeah, 0 boobs in this movie.
0 boobs in this. In Roadhouse, it was like every 10 minutes. It's like you're seeing a set. You know what I'm saying?
Seeing some boobs, yeah. Definitely better.
This is why you come to the podcast.
Wasn't expecting that one.
For the in-depth analysis of the boob to Conor McGregor butt ratio.
God bless it.
Yeah. They replaced boobs with butt.
With Conor
and-
McGregor's
One
butt.
Conor
Okay.
McGregor butt.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like we're kind of wrapping
I
up
want
here a little bit.
The last scene I want to talk about, such a great scene, is when Dell goes to Gyllenhaal's boat to wait for him to shoot him.
And he gets eaten by the
And he
gator.
gets thrown out the window and eaten by an alligator. Great scene. No notes.
That was. So we heard the background of the croc or the gator because the owner told him when he was gonna get on the boat that watch out for the gator. He ate the
dock owner's
dog.
Yeah.
And then the dock owner was a very creepy fucking
He
random
was
dude.
very odd.
But then for the croc to actually eat Dell, who's there to scare, maybe kill, mostly just scare Dalton, and then he ends up getting eaten by the gator. And as he's sitting on the dock with the fucking dock owner, and he goes, "And no one believes that gator ate whatever this fucking dog's name is. you ain't gonna find that body."
Yeah,
that was awesome. That was hilarious.
There are a few really good things surrounding the gator and the croc. I mean, they mention it. I think they mention it twice. Like, hey, watch out for the croc. And it's like, okay, us as the audience, like, this is going to happen at some point. I just didn't expect it to happen like in the middle of the movie. I expected it to be like
it was amazing.
Towards the end. It was great. It was really good.
Perfectly played.
Super violent. Yeah.
Super violent. And Jake Gyllenhaal tries to save him, and then we get multiple mentions of.
I would never step foot on that boat again. By the way,
that would be it for you.
I'm out. In fact, I'd be out of the fucking Florida Keys at that point. Nope.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you.
Right.
Had a great time. Kicked some ass, and I'm out of here.
And I'm out.
Not messing with gators.
I did like that we get multiple mentions of. Gators hide their food. Like it was just like, and he's like, is that something they teach you in kindergarten here? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I like. Like it was fun and playful. And then, again, I think this movie didn't find the right balance of trying to be serious and being fun and lighthearted. But the croc stuff,
find the balance?
I don't think so. I think it tried to get too serious at some points.
Disagree.
Same.
Also I don't know what movie you were watching, but you're wrong.
But you're wrong. Okay, I had a few. We got a few notes. We got.
You don't have a few. You have one more thing.
Yep, you get one.
No, not at an hour. It's only been an hour. Give me.
You get
10
one.
Here. No. I thought it was. What did we think about the character, Big Dick?
I think the funniest part of the movie was when he's like, "Yeah, most people call me Big Dick," and then Gyllenhaal's like, yeah, "I'm not gonna do that."
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I did love that. And the way he said it too, like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Nope.
Yeah,
No, he was a solid corrupt police
yeah.
officer.
He's
I
the
just thought it
town
was
sheriff
funny
who's
that
getting paid off by the drug dealers. He was
yeah,
necessary.
Yeah.
And of course the
nothing
father of the
crazy.
love interest to tie
Right.
everything together.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
Yeah.
it was a
was-
necessary character and didn't have too big of a role that was
Yeah. I just think it was so ridiculous that his name was Big Dick, and they only said it like 3 or 4 times, and they did it
And then Joe-
like sparse.
Right. Joe Burrow called him that on the boat. He's like, "Hey, calm down, Big Dick," or whatever he says. Yeah.
What the fuck is this movie? I thought that was pretty great. The last character I want to shout out was by far my favorite character was the biker gang member with the broken arm.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was like
He's
he
so
was
funny.
the best character in
Yeah.
this movie. Like there's a hospital 25 minutes away, and then Jake Gyllenhaal breaks his arm. Like, oh, don't worry, there's a hospital 20 minutes away. I said it was 25. Like he was just every time he was on the screen was a win for me. I thought that
He-
dude was a
He was
highlight.
really
was-
funny. I liked it at the end when he's like, "Yeah, it turns out these guys aren't as nice as I thought they were originally." He's like,
I'm just looking
I
for
just-
guys
just
to
like
ride
riding
with.
my bike,
"I
man.
just like to ride."
I just like to ride my bike. These guys are just kind of assholes. I'm gonna get out of here. Fucking, he was
Like,
great.
Okay, thank you for not having more violence or whatever.
Yeah, he was. That is the kind of stuff in this movie that I really liked, was that kind of humor in him. And when we had like Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor beating the shit out of each other, and like, you know, they were like punching his head against the piano or something. He's like, the piano's off key. It's like, yeah, fuck you, man. I don't know. It was
Oh my god, you're
some
such
of
a
this movie.
loser.
Some
Like,
of this
what
movie
do you expect
was-
from this movie? Those are like, yeah, it's corny,
Yeah.
but what else? What do you expect? That's what
But
it's
the
supposed to be.
original wasn't corny, Luke, correct?
Correct. It was not corny. It's
Yeah.
corny
Because it's in 1989.
watching it 35 years later, but I think for what movies were at the time, it was not. And if
Yeah.
you're watching it, see, but that's the thing, is you got to watch the movie for what it is. If you watch this movie for what it is,
Yeah,
Sure.
a lot of the
Sure.
complaints that you have, I think, are like
or
a little bit
invalid.
nitpicky. Yeah, it's like,
I just think that some of the time they did a really good job and hit it out of the park, and other times they struck out and failed miserably. That's all I'm saying.
all right. That's your opinion. It's wrong.
That's like your
It's
opinion,
wrong,
man.
but It is your opinion.
I have notes, but I mean, you know, there's nothing more to say about this movie. We fucking
Yeah.
crushed it.
I think you're right. Let's
All right.
start
Box
getting into some
office.
corners, huh?
Let's start getting to the corners of the octagon. And let's start in everyone's favorite corner, the financial corner. Let's talk dollars. Let's talk sense with the person who makes sense of it, Luke Walker. Tell me about some money, because we already mentioned we're very interested to see how this did.
Yeah, so it's a tough one. The budget, we've got an estimated budget of 85 million, which is pretty high.
That's high.
We had kind of seen some pretty big time movies, in that like $100 million range, but those were like movies that were, you expect to have $100
Good.
million budget, and were very good. So 85 million for a budget is pretty high. I think that probably a big chunk of that was, paying Gyllenhaal, paying McGregor, doing some of these boat scenes.
Hopefully, they didn't pay
Yeah.
McGregor too much.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gonna put it all up his nose. But
They did
this-
build the entire Roadhouse, the entire set. They built that whole like bar and casino, or not casino, but the whole bar. It was all built from the ground up, and they survived a hurricane, Hurricane Fiona, which came through and ravished everything. So they kind of had to reset too. So that'll cost you money.
yeah, and so this one though did not go to theaters, I don't believe. So there's no box office numbers. It went straight to Amazon Prime. But the movie, as of a week ago, had already broken the 50 million streams mark, which made it the most streamed movie in Amazon Prime history. And that was like a week ago. So we're probably, probably got a couple another, a few million at least. So from what I can tell, this movie is absolutely crushing it. We just don't have actual dollars that we can equate to that. But I'm gonna give it a A plus. I think if you break a record for streams of a straight to streaming movie, that you are a winner.
You're a winner in my book. Yeah.
Nobody wins in a fight.
No one
Yeah.
wins in a fight, and we didn't win
That's
watching this. But yeah, I mean, if you like, I
Disagree.
saw that stat. They set the record for Amazon Prime movies, but I can't really think of any other. I know that the Charlie Day, I Want You Back, I think was an Amazon Prime movie, but there haven't been that many that's competing against as well. But
yeah, it's a kind of a newer thing, movies going straight to
50
a
million
major
streams is a
stream
lot of
service.
streams.
50
a lot of
million is a lot, man.
That's a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, imagine if you had 50 million people paying $10 a piece, or like 50, whatever a movie costs these days, 15, $20. Like, even if you had 10 million people paying, $15 for like whatever, like, it's a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
And I will credit the marketing team for this. Marketing / just the movie in general. The reason I first heard about this was because Gyllenhaal showed up at a UFC event to
Yeah.
weigh in, and they filmed the fight in front of an actual UFC crowd. So you saw the clips of him, and that was like, oh, Gyllenhaal's in a fucking
What's this all
movie.
about?
What's this all about? And he probably
Yeah.
got all those UFC fans to watch, people like me who saw it. Like, so great, just absolute perfect promotion just by that one little thing getting him at the fucking UFC event.
Yeah, having him actually go to the UFC event, I think is pretty cool. I mean, that was in front of, I think it was at UFC 285.
It was a big,
is what I
it was
saw.
one of the big ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so to get
think I
that
might have
is
Bought
pretty
that UFC.
285.
I feel like I was like actually watching. Oh yeah, I was watching that because it was the John Jones versus Cyril Gane. It was John
there you go.
Jones's heavyweight debut. So yeah, I actually had purchased that UFC, and yeah, they like showed it during the the broadcast. It was cool.
Yeah, I
There
mean,
you go.
it's just
Beautiful promotion.
fine. It got us all talking about it. It got us all interested in it. And yeah, like you said, it probably led to the 50 million views. Are we ready to go to the next corner of the octagon?
Oh, let's talk about the Belgian White, the Blue Moon. We're gonna go to the Bald Beer Brainiac, the
I like
beer
that.
corner, with our local expert on all things alcohol. Not necessarily, just beer.
Thanks,
Mr. Lane.
dude. Yeah, I'm trying to branch out besides beer, but anyways, we are drinking Blue Moon, the Belgian white wheat ale. This is a wheat beer brewed with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and a bright citrus aroma. As we can tell based off of the video that we've all been recording, none of us have been drinking with an orange slice. I want to ask you before we kind of dive into this, do you guys like an orange slice in your Blue Moon? Do you like citrus in your beer? Limes in your Coronas or Modelo's? What are your thoughts on the citrus with the beer?
The limes in a Mexican beer, I can go either way. I don't hate it, but I typically would go without. The orange slice, I hate it.
Future.
I don't go out of, I don't drink Blue Moon, so I don't really go out of my way to put an orange in it. But I typically have like a lime in a Mexican beer, unless when it's like a special event, I should say. If people have limes and they're putting it in for the beer, I will do it. But I won't go
Go
out of
through
my
it.
way to cut up a lime. So yeah, I can go either way. I don't really care. It doesn't make that much of a difference for me that I think it's like a necessity to throw
I,
it.
I agree. Yeah, no. I mean, if I had an orange slice sitting on my glass, I would really just be looking forward to eating the orange slice more so than having it in my beer.
Yeah.
Because a good oranges.
Yeah. Oranges
Anyways,
kind of slap, but I feel like when you have the orange slice in the beer, that combo, it makes both worse. I don't know.
yeah. I'm not having that shit float in my beer.
Fuck that.
Yeah, absolutely not. So I don't know what a Valencia orange is, but apparently they use Valencia orange peel and coriander. It is garnished with an orange slice, which we said not a fan. Food pairings. We haven't done food pairings in a while.
We
That's
have
kind of a
not.
season one thing.
Yeah, we need to get back into that.
We do because I'm a big fan of it. Food pairings are seafood such as grilled shrimp, Asian dishes like pad thai, and marinated chicken dishes. If you go onto their website, we also have actual recipes that they recommend,
Well,
which is
here
a
you go.
grapefruit and tangerine broccoli, lemon honey glazed steak bites, a little bit
That
more
sounds,
interesting.
that sounds like
Yep,
it slaps. Yeah.
grilled scallops with orange sriracha butter, and pesto pizza with tomatoes and goat cheese. This is coming in at 5.4% ABV, higher than your typical American beer. We Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller. Those are kind of on the lower end. I really think that Blue Moon is kind of the next step for young amateur beer drinkers. Like everyone kind of starts with the light beers. I was drinking earlier than I should have been when I was drinking Keystone Light, Natural Light, and those kind of piss water beers. This was like the first beer that I was like, oh no, I'm a real beer drinker. This is kind of the next step. So to go from that like low fours to this 5.4, it's in your early 20s, it's a good step.
I remember
Coming in
drinking a lot of these when I first turned 21, and me and one of my buddies used to go to the bars on Mill Street in Tempe. We'd always get Blue Moon. Yeah.
And
That is exactly. This was one of the first beers that I drank when I was 21. That's exactly. It's the first dive into the heavier, even though it's not a heavy beer. But
something different.
Out of the Coors Light, Keystone Light, Bud Light into a little different type of beer.
I think we're going to kind of shit on this beer a little bit come review time, but I think it should get some credit for that. Coming in at 9 IBU, so obviously not a bitter beer that we're drinking here. Again, it's a white ale, which is unfiltered. You can tell because when you pull up the glass, you cannot see through it. It is unfiltered, and a white is an unfiltered top fermented wheat beer. I'm gonna give you the story of Blue Moon, which I didn't know. It's born from a love of baseball. Blue Moon was first created at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado in 1995.
Win me over.
With the goal of brewing well-craft beers inspired by Belgian style with a refreshing twist. Among the many beers brewed out of Sandlot Brewery, one of the fan favorites emerged. In true baseball fashion was named the Belly Slide Wit. Sliding into second and first, that's just, I like sports and I like, you got to do what you got to do to get the job done. I'm never going to slide into a base. That just seems.
Well, that's because you never played baseball.
Well, I mean, I did.
If you did, you weren't stealing a base, so.
my tall ass like
As someone who stole a lot of bases in his baseball career, you absolutely need to slide. So
well, you need to slide, but it just doesn't sound fun. Like I'd rather take a charge.
As a matter of fact.
All right. Would you rather take a charge or slide into second base?
Slide into second base.
Yeah, sliding into second base is fun.
Yeah, way better than taking a charge. Only losers take charges.
Keith, we'll talk about it offline. It wasn't until someone said a beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon. The Blue Moon Belgian white Belgian style wheat ale. I don't like that. Blue Moon Belgian white Belgian style wheat ale was born. Since then, we've been a home run for baseball fans at home and at the park, making every game a little brighter. Knowing that the American palate would appreciate a bit more brightness than the typical tartness of a Belgian wit, Blue Moon was brewed with Valencia orange peel to accomplish the one-of-a-kind signature subtle sweetness that we all know and do not love today. When we introduced this new style of beer to drinkers, we initially faced a lot of skepticism. The American beer market was flooded with lagers, and cloudy appearance of the unfiltered Belgian was unfamiliar, as we discussed. Beer of this age was, Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Lite. Just this is outside of the ordinary, and it's a step up from those beers, even if you don't like it. I know, Keith, you're not a fan of these fruity beers, and this is something a little bit different, even because it was introduced in 1995. So pretty interesting. We also noticed that bartenders were serving Blue Moon with a lemon slice, a typical garnish. Knowing that we're not brewing that, they persisted and said that we need to throw a motherfucking orange wheel on this bad boy, which I think an orange wheel compared to a lemon, much better call. They gained recognition, winning over drinkers and inspiring breweries across the country and the world. In doing so, they capitulated the craft movement forward. They catapulted, the craft movement forward, helping to shape the modern American beer scene. Now, over 25 years later, Blue Moon is still the #1 craft beer in the United States and delights drinkers in 25 countries worldwide. A brew that was inspired for and raised by the fans of the game since the beginning, Blue Moon continues to share its refreshing twist with the world. Again, I don't like the beer, but I think it deserves a little shout out. Deserves its flowers, if you will.
Don't say that.
I haven't said it in a while, so I
Yeah.
had to throw it back out
I'm
there.
gonna have to crush you for
Yeah,
it.
I liked it better
Still
when
on
you
this
didn't
podcast.
say it.
Yeah, that's the beer corner.
Well,
A
that
different
means
take on brew.
it's time for America's favorite game.
Yeah,
Boys, let's
damn
play
right.
some rotten guesses. Mr. Good, you started us off in the AI game, and I'd like you to go first in this one as well. What are your guesses for Rotten Tomatoes scores for the 2024 version of Roadhouse?
Great question. I'm going to go over the scores a little bit here because we're starting off a new season of Rotten Guesses. We're in year 3, which is absolutely asinine. Keith, you've got 3 points with your critic score and 27 with your audience. Again, we watched Madam Web, which was an experience. I have 2 points for the critics, and Luke, you got 19 for the critics. But Luke, you are the voice of the audience. You were 17 points away compared to everyone else. Absolutely crushed it. I believe that this movie, I don't see it being high for either. I think this is going to be, I'd be shocked if either group gave this above an 84. So I'm going to say for the critics, I'm going to give it a 72. I think the audience is probably going to go higher. I think for, like we mentioned, 50 million people have viewed this. It's something fun to throw on that is included with your Amazon Prime membership. You didn't have to pay for a seat to go to the movie, but I also think some people are going to compare this to the original, and it does not hold a candle to the original. So I'm probably going to go a 77 audience. I'm going to go 72, 77.
Interesting. Lucas, what you got?
Yeah, you're kind of in the realm that I was thinking as well. I think that the critics are for sure going to be lower. I think they're going to be significantly lower though. I'm going to go 67 on the critics. I can't imagine a lot of critics like this movie, but I do think that the audience probably liked it halfway decent. I'm going to go 79.
A little bit higher, huh?
Just a little bit higher.
Yeah, I'm actually I was shocked, Lane, that you guessed such high scores. I think you're stuck in Oscars mode, and then last week really threw you off with how bad Madam Web was. But yeah, this definitely isn't a movie that critics would like by any means. So I wouldn't think that it would be anywhere above a 7 for the critics. But I do think I'm in the same ballpark as Lucas. But I think it's gonna. Would you say Lucas 67 for the
Yeah.
critics? I'll go at 64 for the critics, and audience. God, this is one of those where I feel like the audience number could be like stupid high just because people want to fucking throw it up there. But I won't do that. I'll go at a 73 for the audience. So
Well, boys, we were kind of on the right track with the critics.
wow,
They came in at a
you're
flat
off
60.
on the audience though, huh?
The audience
A
hated
flat
it.
60. Audience
Audience
hated.
hated it. That's amazing.
54 for the audience.
Wow.
One of the lower movies we've ever done, I think.
That's
Okay, check this
interesting.
out. So the audience gave Madam Web a 57. So
Oh,
come on.
better than
Come on, you audience. You guys you're
You gotta
kidding
be
me.
shitting me.
This movie is
So-
worlds better than Madam Web.
It is world better than Madam Web. Keith, I want to give you the shout out this week. You were the voice of the critics. You were 4 away compared to my 12 and Luke's
I'm
7.
starting to think that we need to stop even fucking counting the audience score here after that. That's a
Yeah,
shame. That's an
That
absolute.
is
That is an absolute shame.
Keith, I would like to
Madam Web
also
was
give you
so
a
bad.
shout out. That was so bad. I would also like to give Keith a shout out for being the voice of the audience.
20
This
points
week.
off, and I still won.
19 points away. I was at 23. Luke was at 25. The last person to get both the critics and the audience score was me. I got Anatomy of a Fall. I got them both, but Keith, the week before, you got American Fiction back to back. So
Wait, Lane, what
shout
do you
out to
have?
you.
What do you have as what did the critics give Madam Web?
12.
Okay. That's still what it is. I forgot that it was that bad. I don't remember it being
I can't believe the audience was higher for Madam Web than Roadhouse.
Right? Is that what you see? You still see 57?
There's some shenanigans
57
going on
and
in Rotten
12,
Tomatoes, dude. There's some shenanigans going on with the fans.
We might. I mean, we could switch to a different like.
No, I like it. Obviously, we're not going to change America's favorite game here.
Yeah, it's
But
America's
I'm just
favorite game, and it's
saying-
called Rotten Guesses for a
I'm
reason.
just saying something shady is going on.
Something is awry.
Something is afoot here, and we need Elwood Dalton on the
Elwood Dalton on the case.
case to figure out what's going on. All right,
The world's
well,
greatest detective.
let's get into to our scores here, Mr. Good. Are you going to be higher or lower than the audience? And if you say lower, I'm going to roadhouse your fucking ass.
Let's see what the audience gave it. I am not going to be lower than the audience. As you
Good
guys
answer.
know, I was not excited to watch this movie. Didn't care to watch it at all. And I was pleasantly surprised. There were things that I liked about it, and as we discussed over the last hour or so, there were things that I did not like about it. When this movie was fun and silly and goofy, I was into it. When it tried to get a bit more serious, I was out. I know you guys don't like this, but I watched this remake first, then I watched the original, and then I threw the remake on again.
I thought we put a rule in that you can only watch it once.
I break rules, baby. I break rules. And I did not like it as much. This is a movie that in 2 or 3 years' time,
God,
I will probably completely forget that I ever saw. So for that reason, I would say that this movie's okay. I cannot say that this is a good movie. I enjoyed my time with it, but I will have no desire to ever watch this again. If someone's like, "Hey, let's watch Roadhouse," I'd be like, "Let's watch anything else." I'm gonna go about a 6
Okay.
point.
Watch Madam Web.
Okay, let's watch Roadhouse. I'm gonna go with 6.7. It was okay. Could have been better. Could have been a lot worse. 6.7.
That's not too bad. I thought you were gonna be worse. Yeah, I mean I like the movie. It's for what it is, it's pretty good. It's pretty darn entertaining. There was never any points in it where I was like, man, I can't wait till this is over. It was just like it was fun. There were some things that were clunky. There was some Conor McGregor that was bad. But I overall I liked it. I'm gonna go with a 7.3. Not my favorite movie ever, but it was solid. I liked it.
So before we get into you, Keith, I apologize. I need to get better at this. 6.7. I like this a little bit less than Poor Things. God, I mean, I rank Poor Things pretty low, but I also didn't really like that movie. I got what Super Mario at 6.4. The Menu at 6.9. I did like the Menu better. Glass Onion 6.5. Gray Man 6.9. Oh, Windfall a 6.7. I would probably say that I liked Windfall better than this. Luke 7.3. Let's see if you have anything kind of in that ballpark. Maestro, you gave a 7.6. A 7.5 here for both Super Mario and Tetris. 7.5 for Air. 7.3.
I think I
for
liked this
Nope.
movie a little bit better than those, so I maybe went a little low, or maybe a little high on those. Probably high on
7.3
those.
for Nope. 7.5 for Fablemans. I don't really see another 7.3, but Luke, what would you have given? This is not official, but what would you give the original? Just kind of, off the top, off the hip, if you will.
Probably like a 8.1.
I'd probably be in the mid 7s.
Yeah, it's definitely better. It's
definitely better.
It's really good. Actually, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Probably
Keith?
low 8s.
What are you thinking about Roadhouse?
Lane, first of all, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by your score.
Thank you.
No, it's a perfect goofy action movie. It's exactly what I expected. And I did enjoy it. I did think it being 2 hours, like I think it was almost exactly 2 hours, was a bit long. It kind of they definitely stretched it out with the boat stuff at the end and the final fight, but that's fine. It is what it is. I was literally going to put the same score as Luke. I'll go. I'm debating whether I want to go a little higher, a little lower. I like Gyllenhaal, so I'll go a little higher. I'll give it a 7.5. I think it was a good, entertaining movie. Definitely not great by any means, but it is exactly what I expected it to be, and I enjoyed it.
Do you think in a few years' time you guys are going to look back fondly on this, like, yeah, or do you think it's going to be like,
I can almost guarantee that there will be a time in our household where we are scrolling through movies, streaming movies, and have nothing to watch, and we will watch it again.
there we go?
Yeah, I definitely think I will always remember enjoying this movie.
Keith, you gave Poor Things a 7.8. You gave Barbie a 7.2. You gave Killers of the Flower Moon a 7.5. Way of the Dragon.
That movie is still such a
disappointment. Disappointment for sure.
Maybe we shouldn't have read the book. Anyway, continue.
Way of the Dragon, you gave a 7.2. Super Mario, we were all kind of in that same ballpark with this and Super Mario. It's interesting that we, each of us kind of mentioned, those were brought up multiple times for each of us. Once Upon a Time in America, you gave a 7.6. That's too low. 7.6, Triangle of Sadness. 7.7, Glass Onion. Me and you, Keith, we were both kind of in there. Hustle, you gave an exact 7.5. Grayman, a 7.4. Yeah, there's your ballpark.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, gentlemen, that's it. We got to talk about beer, don't we?
We
We
gotta
do.
talk about beer.
We got to talk about beer. It's not called, the podcast isn't called a beer and review for nothing. I'm assuming I'm going to go first as I put the rest. This is my
You are.
5th beer down.
Oh,
5th.
yikes.
Yep. I got them sitting right here for you. I don't like fruity beers. Not my favorite style of beer. As we've discussed probably off air, I've actually been getting away from beer a little bit. So really the only time I drink beer is with you gentlemen. So it's kind of like I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to, drink a shitload of beer all the time. But this is good. It's not a great beer. I enjoy drinking the 5 that I drank, and I think that it deserves some credit for being that step above. It's kind of like baby's first beer, for lack of a better term. Being something that gets amateur beer drinkers into the world of other beers. I think this is good. I'm going to give it a 7. Not my style of beer. I probably wouldn't, or I would actually not. I probably wouldn't. I would never order a Blue Moon if I had a choice of any other beers. But I think it should get some credit for being kind of everyone's first foray into other styles of beer. So I'm going to give it a flat 7.
Yeah, it's not good. We all kind of have had our period in time where we drank Blue Moon, I guess, and it just the thought of it and drinking it is what it always has been, and it's just not a very good beer. 5.5.
Would you? I mean, like, if you're gonna, would you rather have this or like one of the shitty beers that I kind of discussed?
I think I would probably I'd probably drink like a Coors Light over Blue Moon.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like
How
a
many
Bud
did you
Light.
have?
2.
And now you have 4 more that you got to deal with.
That are just gonna sit in this refrigerator at my
In Arizona.
in-laws Arizona house, probably into eternity.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Sorry, let me fix my little sheet here. Keith, I gave the beer a 7 for you, and Lord knows you're not going to give it a 7. What are you going to give this beer?
I think you're going to be surprised because I'm surprised. You guys mentioned, and I was going to mention it as well, that this is basically like the first beer that I had that was not Coors Light, Keystone, all that. It was the first like stepping into the world of a craft beer per se. Since that point, I have not liked Blue Moon, but I haven't had one in a long time also. My dad, who is not a drinker by any means, and is, now that kids are out of the house, he has beer more often than he did when I was growing up, but he doesn't drink very, very much. This is like his go-to beer, which shows it's like, it's the non-drinker's beer of choice because it doesn't really taste like beer. Having said all that, and you both know I did not want to fucking drink this beer. Wanted nothing to do with it.
Whenever we mentioned Blue Moon in the text group, it was like, pukey face, no, fuck this, no, absolutely not.
It was not that bad. It was fine. Do I want to drink it again? No. Would I rather drink any other beer? Not any other beer. I don't want Bud Light over this. But it's not awful. I'll give it a 6.3.
I'm proud of you, Keith. I am fucking so proud of you.
I'm surprised. Honestly, I am. I took the first sip and I was like, you know what?
It could be worse.
That's how I felt on the first sip as well. But as I continue to take more.
No,
It
it
like
hasn't,
it
it
just
hasn't been that terrible.
doesn't feel good in my stomach. It doesn't. It gives my whole mouth this taste that I don't like. It's just I like it.
I like it.
It's what beer did we drink a few weeks ago that was awful?
Oh, the sour.
We drank
Oh,
the sour last week.
Oh
which
my
was,
god, the sour was so bad. I'd
was so
much
bad.
rather have this than the sour.
You gave the
Ugh.
cold snap.
Oh, the
6.1.
sour was awful.
The sour
And
was awful.
we drank a white ale recently too. What did I give the white ale? Because those are still in my fridge, and I do not want to touch those ever again.
I don't know. We drank Dr. Lupin, which was the strong IPA. We drank
No.
the French Toast Stout. We drank the 1664 Lager, the Rochefort.
There's a good chance it was a while ago because I have not.
We drank the
those white ales.
Breckenridge Christmas Ale. We drank
We don't have to go through
Salty
all this,
Crew.
This is better.
Yeah, you're going way back.
Because I opened my fridge the other night to get a beer and I saw those white ales in there and I thought those are never going to get drank. So that's the
I'll
only.
come over. I'll drink them.
Those are the ones that taste kind of like a Blue Moon, and those are never going to get drank. That's exactly the thought that went through my head when I saw them in the garage and the fridge, which is the beer fridge.
How many did you have this evening, Keith?
The fridge in the garage, which is the beer fridge. I'm finishing my third. So
Attaboy. All right. Well, I am the host for next week. I've already told you, gentlemen, what we're going to be watching. I mentioned it at the top of the podcast, and there are some other movies that I would like to watch, but we're going to watch Dune 2. If you have a chance to go to the theater and see it in IMAX, I strongly recommend. It was a unbelievable experience, but if not, totally fine. Dune 2. As I said, I've already seen it. I'm going to watch it again before the podcast. If you get a chance to watch Dune 1, it will make the experience a whole lot better. But I know we're busy boys. Dune 2.
I have seen Dune 1.
How long ago?
To see Dune 2 in the theaters, and I plan to. We needed some palate cleansers after Oscar season, but I wanted this is one that I really want to see and dive into.
It's gonna come up next Oscar season.
It is.
So we need to do it.
Best achievement in dork movies.
You're gonna watch it and you're gonna come in your pants.
Probably not.
I've watched Dune 1 a couple times, but it's been a while, and since it was about to come out, we've been planning on watching, but due to the fact that my wife doesn't stay awake for 3-hour movies very often, it's been hard to get a rewatch of Dune 1, but I would like to rewatch it.
And Dune 1 is
it's good.
It's good.
It was good.
It's good is the best word you cannot call it anything besides that.
I thought it was pretty fucking good.
Then you are going to love Dune 2. And also, I mentioned this in the group text. With Dune 2, we are going to have our first guest on the podcast. So one of my coworkers who is a Dune fanatic, I have invited him on. So very excited to have a fourth chair to join us for Dune 2. And gentlemen, as always, it is a pleasure to drink beers with you and discuss movies. Year 3 is starting off very hot with the great Madam Web and the great Roadhouse. And I cannot wait to continue it with Dune 2. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.